Hey guys, what's up? Carter here. This is going to be a VR to John's video that I just saw, kind of in support of his video. And wait a minute, something's wrong. Something's wrong with this. Let me see here. There we go. There we go. That's much better. That's a much better looking side, I think. But this is a response to his Strider video that he kind of just threw up, uploaded. Well, and I've been watching John's videos for quite a while. I don't think since he started, not that long, but for quite a while I've watched his videos. And I remember when he had some Striders and when he moved away from those and got into CRKs and Hinders and stuff. So everything he's talking about I saw firsthand, you know, that kind of transition, and then kind of him coming back to Striders. But more importantly, something he said, or a couple things he said in the video he just put up about Striders. He mentioned something to the effect of, well, first of all, he mentioned the unique shape. And I really think that is one of the strong suits of Strider knives. They have came across just a very unique and cool looking blade shape, and not just blade shape. I mean, really, it's mainly the handle shape, and it's this whole thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but there's something about these lines, how they're angular, but they're not sharp. You know, everything's just barely curved off at the last minute. You know, your first impression is that it's a very angular and edgy type design, but really everything is just barely curved just at the last minute. And everything from the outside shape to how the lock bar is cut out, everything about it, very unique. Pocket clip. The pocket clip is also extremely unique. Instead of having 2 or 3 holes holding the pocket clip in, they actually drill a hole here, drill a hole here, tap a hole here, and then they bend a little tab on the pocket clip, and that acts as the secondary stabilizer so that you only need 1 screw to hold it in place. You know, it just makes you think, who thought of that? Who thought of that, and exactly why? Was it just totally an aesthetic reason, or is there some sort of design purpose behind it? But those are the kinds of things that I wonder about at night. But yeah, just a very unique design. I've never seen any other company do anything quite like that. And you know, this knife is just full of those kinds of designs. And I think a testament to how strong this Strider design is the fact that Strider themselves on multiple occasions have tried to, or at least from my perspective, they've tried to answer criticisms on their design. The most recent one being the SJ75, and prior to that was the RCC line. The RC was a frame lock, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it actually had kind of a recurve blade, very ergonomic handle. It kind of, I think, to me, I saw that design as an answer to people that complained about certain aspects of the traditional Strider design. So there's that one, and same with the SJ75. To me, that was kind of like an answer to certain criticisms, you know, fit and finish criticisms, and you know, smoothness and ergonomics and things like that. But there's just, no matter what, this design always prevails. You know, those ones come and they go. I'm making a prediction here. I have a feeling the SJ75 won't be around forever. In fact, I'm thinking it's not too far off from going the way of discontinuation, just because, you know, people like it for a while, but it just doesn't hold up like this design. And I have a feeling that this design is not going to go anywhere. But the second thing that John mentioned that I'd like to talk about is his term, or his use of the words, "it's just badass looking." And that's powerful coming from him, because he's not that type of person generally. At least that's not what I pick up from him. He, to me, he's much more logical, thoughtful about things that he says, you know, he doesn't seem like a guy that would kind of use that kind of terminology. So to hear him say that is very interesting, and I've got to agree. It's true. You can't put your finger on it. You can't necessarily quantify it on paper, but there is just something badass about Strider knives. And I think it's that blend of kind of utilitarian and kind of that industrial, kind of military type influence is what I'm thinking. You know, it has that kind of feel to it, and they're expensive, but you don't feel like you can't use them, you know. I've got knives that cost less that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to put it in my pocket, I might scratch it, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas with the Strider knife, they almost just beg to be used and get a few scratches on them, you know. And I think that's kind of goes in with their philosophy, why they've never really been overtly concerned with finish coming out of the shop and things like that, because, you know, their thought was always, you know, the more used it is, the more scratches, the better it looks. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. Of course, there's a lot of people that don't, so that's why I don't use all of my Striders. Well, the other reason I don't use all my Striders is because I've got so many similar ones that I don't, you know, it'd be kind of pointless to do so. But I'm rambling, guys. I am going off on a tangent. This was supposed to be quick. But anyway, so awesome video, man. Really cool. You hit the nail on the head with your vagueness as far as why they're awesome. They're just badass. And you really can't quantify that logically. I get a number, in fact, I get a lot of comments relating to Striders, and I also get a lot of thumbs downs on my Strider videos. People want an answer, you know, that they can wrap their head around as to why somebody would want a Strider knife. You know, and why, you know, I had one guy ask me if I could, you know, tell him why, you know, why is this better than a Para 2? What about it is better than a Para 2? And there really is no answer. I mean, there's no answer. It's just a feeling that you get from them, and you can't really put your finger on it. And I don't think a lot of people, or not everybody, would get that feeling. And I think you got to be kind of in a certain place in your knife collecting, using career, I guess, if you want to call it that, where it'll just make sense to you, or maybe it won't. I mean, but I will say this. I mean, if you're asking that question, then probably never going to click for you. Well, it could. You never know. But there's no magical thing somebody's going to say to you that, you know, oh, that's why so-and-so likes Striders, and why they would rather have one Strider rather than 4 Spydercos. You know, that's why. You know, there's no quick answer like that. A lot of people or a few people in some of my, sorry John, this turned into kind of a why I like Striders video instead of just a VR supporting your video. But I've had people use a really good analogy in some past Strider videos, or actually I think maybe it was my Emerson video, but a lot of things apply to both. And basically what they said, and I think this is just great, these guys are Harley guys, right? You know, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, they're kind of an American institution, they're a classic, they're deeply ingrained in our culture. I mean, really, they're kind of intertwined with our American history in a lot of respects. I mean, it's not just like an offshoot of motorcycle people. I mean, it's found its way to kind of wrap around just about everything in American culture, Harley-Davidson motorcycles. And so I had some Harley enthusiasts kind of, you know, it clicked for them, it resonated when I was kind of talking about why, you know, people might be into something like Emerson knives when they don't necessarily seem to be better, so to speak. You know, you can't quantify, you know, oh, they got better steel and better this, better that. And I was trying to explain it in a video, and it clicked with them, and they said, yeah, that's, you know, that's very similar to my Harley, right? I mean, I could take my Harley, write down all the stats, write down how much it costs, you know, everything, its performance, its features, all that stuff. And I could compare it to a foreign-made motorcycle, or even maybe just another newer US-made motorcycle company. I could run a comparison paper to paper. And on paper, they're going to blow the Harley away. You know, they can offer more features, they can offer better performance or equal performance for half the cost. And yet they said, but I would rather die than give up my Harley. You know, my Harley means more to me than the sum of its parts. It's not like that. You can't just say, well, it's got this, this, and this is how much it costs, so this is how much it's worth. Because worth, you know, can mean more than that to people. And that's what's so great about us. We can do that. We can assign worth to something that doesn't physically exist there. We can assign worth to photographs. You know, a photograph of your family is worth more than the paper it's printed on. You know, so it falls into that kind of mentality. And it's part of what it is to be human, is to kind of assign a value to something that may be greater than the physical materials that it's made out of and things like that. And that's what it kind of falls in line with me with Strider knives. You know, there's just a certain place that they have kind of with me and have always had. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Just said my piece. All right, take it easy.